the greatest, that is a vow, yeah, that is a promise. Always wanted to be famous, just being real, yeah, just being honest. My head is...
Ever get ready to hit that buy now button on? Like a must-have item, and then bam, the website decides to move in slow motion. Ugh. Talk about a mood killer.
It's the worst.
I bet you've been there, right?
Totally.
Today we're diving into something that seems, I don't know, kind of basic, but it makes a huge difference. Website speed.
It's true.
We're talking about how even something as small as like 100 millisecond delay can cost a company, even one as big as Amazon, millions.
Millions, yeah.
So clearly we should care.
Oh, big time.
Okay, so we've got this article here. It's all about how improving your WordPress site speed can seriously boost your revenue.
Right.
So obviously there's a connection, but what's the secret ingredient here? What's going on?
Well, it's interesting how these little annoyances can actually snowball into big problems.
Yeah.
And when we're talking about website speed, it's not just like a few seconds of, ugh, come on. We're talking about how it actually impacts the user experience.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, a business's bottom line.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. But let's unpack that a little bit.
Okay.
What's the big secret sauce here?
It really comes down to how all those different elements that you see on a web page, the text, the images, the videos, how they actually load onto your screen.
Okay.
We can get kind of technical and talk about things like page load time. I mean, that one's pretty self-explanatory, right?
Yeah.
And then there's time to first byte,
Okay.
which measures how long it takes for your browser to get that initial bit of info from the server.
Okay, hold on. Time to first byte. So TTFB.
TTFB.
That sounds a little technical.
It does, but
Break it down for us. What is that?
okay, imagine you're calling a friend, right?
Yep.
TTFB is like that moment, between when you dial the number and when you actually hear them say hello.
Okay, got it.
A long TTFB,
Ah.
that's like waiting for them to pick up the phone, like after it's already rung,
Yeah.
makes you wonder if they're even there.
Totally. You're like, hello? Hello?
Exactly. It creates this uncertainty and delay.
Yeah.
And in the online world, delays, they can cost you
Big time.
big time.
Like, get this. The article mentions that Amazon, they found that just a 100 millisecond delay could cost them 1% in sales.
It's crazy.
100 milliseconds, that's like a blink of an eye.
And think about how many purchases are happening on Amazon every second.
Oh my gosh, right.
Those milliseconds add up fast.
That's insane.
It's a fantastic illustration of how these seemingly small, kind of behind-the-scenes technical details can have this massive impact on a business.
Yeah.
You would never think 100 milliseconds would matter.
No.
But clearly it does.
Totally. So we're not just talking about some abstract tech jargon here. This is the actual tangible success of a business.
Absolutely.
It makes sense though, right?
Yeah.
I know I have totally bailed on a purchase because a website was just taking too long.
Oh, yeah, me too.
It's so frustrating.
And it's not even just about lost sales, right? Think about customer trust.
Oh.
A fast-loading website, it feels more professional. It feels more reliable, wouldn't you say?
100%. It's like the difference between walking into a store that has a messy, cluttered window display and one that's sleek and well organized.
Yes,
You immediately get a sense of their attention to detail just from how they present themselves.
precisely. And search engines like Google,
Oh yeah,
they're like those discerning customers too.
they are.
They want to send their users to the best websites.
Yeah.
And they prioritize fast-loading websites because they know a fast site means a better user experience.
So if your website is slow,
Mm.
it's not just annoying for users, but it could be totally tanking your search engine ranking,
Oh, yeah.
which means less visibility,
Less traffic,
less business.
less business. Yikes.
Yeah, it really highlights how important it is to think of website speed as a really fundamental element of having a successful online presence,
Totally.
not just some technical afterthought.
Yeah, this is important stuff.
It is.
Okay, so we know speed is non-negotiable for online success.
Right.
But how do we actually make our websites faster?
Yeah.
The article had some good tips.
It did.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the best part is you don't have to be a tech genius to figure this stuff out.
Right.
It's really all about making smart choices
Yeah.
and optimizing what you've already got.
Right, so it's streamlining your morning routine but for your website.
Exactly.
Give us the rundown.
Okay, so it all starts with the foundation,
Okay.
your hosting environment.
Okay.
Think of it like choosing the right location for a shop.
Okay.
A prime spot with high foot traffic that's going to make a much bigger impact than some hidden side street.
Right. So a better hosting environment equals a faster website.
Exactly.
So what are our options?
So you've got everything from shared hosting, which is, budget friendly,
Okay.
but it can get a little bogged down if you're sharing space with like a bunch of other sites. Right. So it's like sharing like a tiny apartment with like a ton of roommates. Things can get a little messy, a little crowded.
For sure. And then you've got like dedicated hosting where you basically get an entire server all to yourself.
Okay.
So top tier speed and performance.
Yeah.
But of course that comes with a higher price tag too.
Right. So that's like the penthouse suite of website hosting.
Exactly.
Very nice. Very nice. But okay, the article specifically called out managed WordPress hosting.
Yes.
What's so special about that?
So managed WordPress hosting is like having like a dedicated team that's taking care of all the behind the scenes stuff for you.
Okay.
So like security updates, backups, those performance tweaks,
Right.
it's all handled.
Oh, wow.
So you can focus on, what you actually want to be doing.
Right.
Creating awesome content,
Yes.
engaging with your audience.
It frees up so much mental bandwidth
Oh, it's amazing.
to like actually focus on the creative stuff and not have to like wrestle with tech headaches at 3 a.m.
Exactly. The article mentioned Kinsta as a really great example.
Definitely.
They even share this case study about a company called Ticket Falcon. And these guys, they saw their revenue almost double
What?
after making the switch.
Get out of here.
Talk about return on investment, right?
That's insane.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's not all about the hosting though, right?
Right.
What about plugins?
Yes.
Because I feel like those can really slow things down if you're not careful.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Plugins are amazing for, adding functionality and features to your site.
Yeah.
But it's like anything else, moderation is key.
Okay.
The article recommended doing like regular plugin audits,
Okay.
ditch anything that you're not using,
Mhm.
update those outdated ones, and always be on the lookout for like those lightweight, really efficient alternatives.
Okay, so it's like spring cleaning for your website.
Yes.
Out with the digital clutter.
Exactly. And while we're talking about decluttering,
Okay.
let's not forget images,
Oh, yeah.
because huge image files are notorious for like bogging down websites.
Oh, tell me about it. I have definitely like clicked away from websites where it's taken forever to load a single photo.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's the worst.
But the good news is that you can actually optimize these images without sacrificing the quality.
Oh, okay, good.
So there are tools and techniques to kind of like compress them, make sure your site's visually appealing but still lightning fast.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
What about caching?
Yes.
Because that's always sounded kind of mysterious to me.
It does, right?
Yeah.
Like some sort of like secret tech term,
Yeah,
but it's
yeah.
actually a pretty simple concept.
Okay.
Imagine you're baking a cake, okay?
Okay.
Instead of baking a new cake from scratch every single time someone wants a slice,
Right?
you bake one delicious cake
Yeah.
and keep slices ready to go. Caching is kind of like that, but for your website.
Okay.
So it stores static versions of your pages,
Okay.
so they can be served to visitors super fast.
Okay, so it's like efficiency.
Yes.
Having those like website cake slices prepped and ready to be served up.
Exactly.
Okay. All right, I like it. What about CDNs?
Yes.
Content delivery networks.
Content delivery networks.
That sounds fancy.
So think of it like having a network of delivery drivers
Okay.
for all of your website's content.
Okay.
So instead of all of your website data living on like one single server,
Okay.
a CDN distributes it across multiple servers
Oh.
all over the world.
Oh, wow.
So this means that when someone visits your site, they're served content from the server that's closest to them.
Okay, so like if I'm in London and the main server is like in New York, the CDN would essentially deliver the content from a server in Europe, somewhere closer to me.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's all about minimizing those precious milliseconds and creating a smoother, faster experience.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got optimized hosting, plugins, images, caching, CDNs.
It's a lot, but
It sounds like a lot,
it's very effective.
but also incredibly effective.
Yeah.
Like it's amazing how these like seemingly small tweaks can make such a huge difference.
They really do. It's like fine-tuning a high-performance engine, you know?
Yeah.
Every little adjustment, no matter how small,
Right.
it's contributing to a smoother, more powerful ride.
It's kind of like in life too, right? You know, this whole conversation about website optimization.
Yeah.
It's got me thinking about how we approach like our own productivity.
I was just thinking the same thing. It's all about like maximizing efficiency
Yeah.
and like streamlining those processes,
Yeah.
whether it's for a website or like our own lives, really.
100%. And speaking of productivity, that brings us to our next source, the 5 a.m. Club. It's time to shift gears from website optimization to, like, life optimization. Okay, so we're talking about the 5 a.m. Club, and I gotta be honest, my first thought was, like, 5 a.m.? No way, I love sleep way too much.
Yeah.
But, then I actually started reading it.
Yeah.
And honestly, it got me thinking about those early hours, like, totally differently.
Yeah, it's so much more than just like dragging yourself out of bed early, isn't it?
Totally.
It's about like really reclaiming those quiet hours before, the rest of the world is even like awake.
Yeah.
It's about like setting the tone for your day instead of just like letting the day run you. You know what I mean?
100%. It's like you're finally like taking control of the steering wheel instead of feeling like you're constantly in the passenger seat, just reacting to whatever comes your way.
Yes, exactly. Like the book even calls those pre-dawn hours victory hours. Like it's your time dedicated to, self-improvement, to pursuing those things you're passionate about, like finally working on those big picture goals that just always seem to get lost in, the daily hustle.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's so true. And it makes so much sense when you actually like think about it.
Right.
Imagine the kind of like focused work you could do when like your inbox is quiet and the rest of the world is like literally still asleep.
Oh my God.
And the book actually gives some like pretty amazing examples of people who like live by this philosophy.
Oh,
the story about Twyla Tharp,
Yes.
the choreographer, like blew my mind.
Oh, she's incredible, right?
I know, this woman has choreographed over 130 dances. And she like swears by her 5:30 a.m. routine.
It's insane. And we're not even talking like a quick meditation session,
No,
This woman is up, she's hailing a cab, she's heading straight to the gym
I know.
for a 2-hour workout
Every single day.
every single day.
Talk about dedication.
Right. It really underscores that. Like success, even at that level, it's not about, some magical burst of inspiration.
Right.
It's about building those consistent habits, showing up, like day after day,
Yeah.
even when it's tough,
Really. And the 5 a.m. Club actually connects this idea to like the science behind habit formation.
It does.
Right.
Yeah.
It draws on the work of Charles Duhigg,
Yes.
who talks about these keystone habits,
Yes.
Yes. Like these small changes that when you actually do them consistently, create this like ripple effect
Yes.
on all these other areas of your life.
It's like this domino effect of positive change.
Yes. And they had this great example in the book about a productivity blogger, Louis Chu,
Oh, yeah, he's great.
who found that just like simply waking up earlier led to like all these improvements in his life.
Yeah.
Like his work, his fitness, his, just his overall like sense of well-being.
Everything. It's amazing, right? It's like by creating those victory hours, he gave himself the gift of time and space to really focus on what mattered most to him.
Totally, totally. But, let's be real for a second.
Okay.
Like changing your habits is hard,
Oh, it's so hard.
like really hard.
The struggle is real.
The struggle is so real. And the 5 a.m. Club, like they acknowledge that.
They do. They get it.
They get it, right?
Yeah. It recognizes that when you're pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone, you're going to come up against resistance.
Yeah.
You're going to have self-doubt.
Totally.
You're going to feel a little bit of fear.
Totally. You're like literally wired to resist change, even if you know it's good for you.
It's true.
It's so true. And you know what? This is where I see another parallel to our like earlier conversation about website optimization.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
It's like just as unnecessary plugins can totally slow down a website, it's our own like limiting beliefs
Yeah.
and fears that are often like holding us back from really reaching our full potential.
That's such a good point. But, the good news is, just like we can optimize our websites by getting rid of those digital roadblocks, we can, like, totally work on overcoming those internal obstacles, too.
Totally.
It starts by, first admitting that they're there.
Yeah.
And then we can find ways to, like, work through them.
Yeah. And you know what? Sometimes it takes, like, a little inspiration to kind of keep you going.
Oh, for sure.
And the book shared this story about this woman named Maria.
Oh, yeah.
Who really struggled with this. Like she was used to having success in like other areas of her life.
Right.
But when she tried to write a book, she like hit a wall.
She did.
She doubted herself.
Yeah.
Her confidence was like totally shot, and she was like this close to giving up.
I know.
I know. It's heartbreaking.
She was so close to letting those doubts win. But you know what?
It
She
hurt.
pushed through
She did.
with the help of a coach, you know?
Okay.
She stuck with her writing routine, even when it was uncomfortable, even when she felt like, a total failure.
Wow.
And eventually, you know what? She
Right.
finished that book.
That is so inspiring.
Right.
It reminds me that those moments where we like most want to give up are often like the moments right before, we're about to have like a breakthrough.
100%. And it really speaks to that idea of the hero's journey,
Oh, yeah.
which the 5 a.m. Club also talks about.
Yes.
Remember Joseph Campbell's work?
Yes.
He identified those like common stages in the stories of heroes
Yeah.
across like all these different mythologies, right? The hero ventures out,
Yeah.
faces challenges, overcomes obstacles,
Yeah.
and then like ultimately returns,
Right.
transformed.
It's such a classic story structure.
Yeah.
Like it's so deeply ingrained in our like cultural DNA.
It's true. But here's the thing. That journey, it's not just for like mythical heroes.
Right.
It's like a blueprint
Okay.
for personal growth that every single one of us can like totally embrace.
Love that.
Like we all have challenges to face, fears to conquer,
Yeah.
and a unique contribution to make.
That is powerful.
Right.
But even heroes need to rest.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm glad that the 5 a.m. Club like didn't just skip over like the importance of sleep.
No, not at all. It really emphasizes that like burning the candle at both ends, that's going to lead to burnout.
For sure.
It even references Arianna Huffington's book, The Sleep Revolution, which like really digs deep into the science of why sleep is so essential
Yes.
for like our mental and physical well-being.
Totally. It's like we were saying before, like rest is not a luxury.
No,
It's like it's an investment in like
it is an investment.
in yourself, in your work.
You can't perform at your best if you're running on fumes.
Exactly. So bringing it all back to today's like deep dive.
Okay.
It is so fascinating how we've like uncovered this like unexpected connection
Right.
between these two like seeming totally different topics.
I know.
But whether it's, optimizing a website for speed or optimizing our like own lives for, productivity
Yes.
and fulfillment, it all comes down to like making these intentional choices,
Yeah.
finding those small but consistent actions that over time create like crazy results.
It's about recognizing that like we actually have the power
Yeah.
to like design our days,
Yes.
to streamline our processes and create the conditions for like peak performance.
Yes.
Both, in our digital lives and IRL.
100%. It's like don't view those little tweaks and those optimizations as like a burden.
No.
View them as like opportunities for growth and improvement.
I love that.
So I'm going to leave you with a little something to ponder. If your life were a website, what small changes could you make to like optimize its performance and help you reach your full potential? Think about it. We'll be back next time for another deep dive.